Today, I'll be ranking the villains in Battlefront 2 from the absolute worst to the very best. Starting off our list, we have BB9E. BB9E is 1000% a support hero, and that's where you're going to get the most value out of him. Decent abilities, especially his shock spin, but not too much outside of that for his abilities. The best gameplay you're really going to get out of BB9E if you're not a pro with him is to be an assist in heroes versus villains. Sticking close to teammates and playing a bodyguard role with your troops is going to be essential to being successful with BB9E in Supremacy modes and Galactic Assault. In my opinion, he's just way too support heavy to be able to stand on his own and outrank all these other villains. Coming into the number 10 spot, I'm going to put Captain Phasma. Now, right off the bat, the biggest issue with Captain Phasma is just her pea shooter of a gun. It just doesn't do a lot of damage, and it's really hard to kill troops, and especially heroes. And for some reason, it has a weird double scope, even though it's not great as a long-range weapon. It's just really odd. Phasma's best ability is by far her robot, which is great for controlling choke points and control points on Supremacy. Her staff ability, while having a lot of good damage, just has really slow animations, and it's kind of hard to compete with any lightsaber heroes, especially in close distance. So unless you're really good with Captain Phasma, you would either want to get away while they're getting shocked by your robot, or take them down with the staff while they're getting shocked. If not, you're getting put in a bad situation.
I'm in charge. I'm in charge now, Phasma. I'm in charge. Bring it down. Bring it down.
Coming into the number 9 spot, I have kind of a controversial pick with Bossk. Now, that's not to say Bossk can't be really good in Supremacy. In the right hands, he's one of, if not the best blaster villain in Supremacy. The reason he's so low on this list is because he's a really low floor, but a really high ceiling pick. In the right hands, he can be amazing, but for most general starting players, he's really difficult to get the hang of. And while good in Supremacy, if he's found by a lightsaber hero in Supremacy, he's already cooked. There's very little chance that Bossk is winning that fight, and that also makes him a super easy target in heroes versus villains. It really just depends on the kind of Bossk player you are and what game modes you play. Bossk can be either one of the best or one of the worst heroes. Next, at number 8, I have Iden Versio. Iden, to me, is one of, if not the most well-rounded villains in the entire game. She's very capable of taking on blaster and saber heroes, notably the shock ability helping with the saber heroes and the shield helping with the blaster heroes. This allows her to be really capable in heroes versus villains and in Supremacy, where she can take on enemies in big open areas and in small close quarters areas. I feel like her snipe ability is really underrated for how powerful it is. You can get major kill streaks in Supremacy and Galactic Assault just with the sniper alone. Here at number 7, I have Count Dooku. Now, Dooku is clearly the best duelist in the game, behind the obvious. But in Hero Showdown and Heroes vs. Villains, Dooku really thrives. Beyond that, Dooku is just super fun to play and has awesome abilities, like his lightning ability is one of the most fun in the game, in my opinion. However, as good as Dooku is in Hero Showdown and Heroes vs. Villains, his weakness is definitely in Galactic Assault and Supremacy. He just has no real crowd control abilities or abilities to use against a lot of troops or to really evade a lot of troops. Breaking into the top half of our list, I'm going to put General Grievous. Grievous is just super powerful and has a lot of health, so it can be really fun when you're melting heroes in Heroes vs. Villains or Hero Showdown. In Supremacy and Galactic Assault, some of the most fun times you'll have with Grievous is going down long hallways, especially in the capital ships of Supremacy, where there's just a bunch of troops just ready for you to maul down. And that's really where Grievous thrives, is in those indoor, kind of close quarter situations when you can just be fully aggressive and just go all in on a hero or a bunch of troops. Once you get into a big wide open area though, that kind of doesn't apply with Grievous, as he has really low stamina and can't block more than about 4 shots before his stamina on his blocking ability goes down. I find Grievous's abilities very fun though, and it really makes him one of the more high risk, high reward, really aggressive villains on this list, and we'll see a couple more of those further on. Coming in the number 5 spot, I'm going to put Kylo Ren. Kylo kind of has the same issue as Grievous, where his aggressive and explosive playstyle is really fun, but can really lead to having some bad defense with the character. His stamina also isn't amazing, but it is definitely a lot better than Grievous's. This isn't really an issue with Kylo, but more with the game, is that his abilities also don't work a lot. They're very buggy, especially his frenzy attack can be super buggy. When his abilities are working right, Kylo's ability combinations are some of the most fun in the entire game. If you can get the freeze along with the pull and frenzy to go along together really well, you can have some awesome kill streaks. Kylo is one of those villains that's really good in all game modes and situations if you know how to use them, and isn't too hard or too complex to understand. Coming in at number 4, the final blaster villain on this list is going to be Boba Fett. Boba is by far the most fun and best blaster villain on this list. He's also really good when you pick him up and play him, and you can just get better with him as you go on. He's really fun to master and just get better at over time. His jetpack mechanics are really fun to use and really intuitive, especially if you've played the first Battlefront. They're definitely a lot more interesting here and have a lot more dynamic ways to be used in different modes like Supremacy and Heroes vs. Villains. Managing his jetpack and his bombs is really fun, especially if you can find little like nooks and crannies to fly and hide on and just blow up troops or heroes. One of the best things about Boba is how fair he feels. When you get killed by losing jetpack stamina and getting killed by a saber hero, it's not like with Kylo where your frenzy just glitches. When you die as Boba, it's usually your fault, which makes it more fun to get better with him over time. Getting into our top 3, I'm going to put Darth Maul at number 3. Now, Maul is the pinnacle on the villain side of high risk, high reward. Playing Maul, you have to be very aggressive and move around real fast to get as many kills as you can and avoid as much damage as you can. This playstyle makes him my favorite, and it also makes him very good in almost every terrain. All of Maul's abilities are very good, and he would have placed lower on this list before the 2019 update, but now that he can block sabers and bullets, he's really one of the best picks in the game. Also, throwing heroes off of ledges in Heroes vs. Villains is just too fun, especially on Camino. Getting into our top 2, an underrated pick I've noticed is definitely Palpatine. I don't think people just realize how mobile Palpatine really is, and he can get around a lot quicker than most people think, especially if you're battling a saber hero. If you can dodge perfect, he's so good. Palpatine's ability combinations are also just elite. Hitting the chain lightning with the stun lightning ability is one of the most satisfying things in the game, especially if you stun a bunch of troops and then chain lightning them all at once. The same can be said for taking on heroes. If you stun lightning a hero at the perfect time, you can easily win that fight. One of Palpatine's bigger weaknesses, though, is getting caught in open areas with a lot of troops that can shoot you from distance. His mobility kind of makes up for his lack of having a block ability, but you still need to be really careful with it. Overall, if you prioritize his mobility and combine it with good ability combinations, Palpatine is by far one of the best, if not the best villain in the game, if you know how to use him. And now, the final pick for the best villain in the game is going to go to Darth Vader. Now, I'm sure this came as no surprise to anyone, but Vader is by far the best character in the game. His huge amount of health, along with the perfect star cards, can make him practically unkillable for even a decent player. On top of that, he has great crowd control abilities and is the best duelist in the game to go with his health. I would say the only knock on Vader is his low attacking stamina. He can only swing like 9 to 10 times before he runs out of stamina. Other than that, he's just by far the best villain in the entire game. Well guys, that was my ranking of the 11 villains in Battlefront 2. Let me know if you guys have any more video ideas you want to see in the comments, and let me know your guys' rankings of the villains. I'm genuinely curious on where my ranking stands within the community. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.